So at this moment, we'll start the session, and the first thing I want you to do is I really want you to bring your attention to the present moment. And the best way to do that is to just acknowledge that if anything's happened leading up to this moment, tonight, earlier today at practice, or as things that you may have to still do later on tonight or tomorrow, no problem. Know you're going to get to it. Just know this next 10 minutes or so is your private time. This is your sanctuary, and this is your opportunity to really work on getting healthier and more clarity in your life and more energy and all that good stuff. So just really want you to be aware of the present moment and just know that that's where we want to be. And again, if anything else comes up on your mind, future or past, let it be. And just know we'll deal with it after the session. This 10 minutes is your sanctuary. With that in mind, the next thing I want you to do is I just want you to notice your body. I want you to start actually at your feet. And we're going to move up from the feet all the way up to the top of the head. And as we move up the body, I just want you to notice what part of your body is touching something physical, like a surface. So as an example, your shoe or your sock or your bare foot is touching the floor or the carpet. But it's not just your whole shoe or your whole foot. It's a part of your foot. So it might be the left side of your foot is touching the floor or the carpet. And I just want you to take a moment and I actually want you to really see if you can notice every part of your foot that is physically touching a surface. Really to the point where you notice the part of your foot that's not touching the surface, because obviously there's a moment of truth there where it's touching to where it's not touching. And so I just want you to do it with both of your feet. And I want you to really get into that. What part of my feet are touching the ground or the floor? And as you do that, you might actually notice there's already a little bit of a release, like, oh, that's nice. Something is just sort of holding my feet in place. The floor is supporting my feet or part of my feet or part of my shoe. And then what we're going to do is just slowly move up the body. And I just want you to be the best private investigator in the world. I just want you to literally notice any part of your body that is touching something that's solid, the surface. So it could be the chair you're sitting on. It might be part of your thigh that's touching. You might notice the part of your thigh that's not touching. You might notice your hips and your glutes. So again, now just deal sort of with the part of your body if you're sitting on a chair. And if you're laying on the ground, then you might notice it more, your calves. Part of your calves are touching the floor. And so again, we're just really working from the feet up to the hips, and we're just again looking for what is supporting me, what's holding me in place, and what part of the surface am I touching with my body. And then you just slowly make your way up to the low back and mid back and shoulders and arms and hands and fingers and neck. Again, you'll notice some part of your body is being supported by some part of a surface. And of course, there's a part of your body where it meets, where it's not supported by the surface. And I really want you to do the best job you can to just allow whatever is holding you in place, whatever's holding you up, to do all the work now. So in a way, it would sort of be like laying on a raft, to where the raft is supporting your body, but your arms and your legs may be dangling in the water of, let's say, a pool. And I just want you to see if you can get to a point where you're getting that sensation of, wow, I don't really have to try to relax because something is doing the work for me. It's as if whatever's holding you in place wasn't there. You would literally hit the ground like a sack of potatoes, or if you're laying down, you would just free fall through space. That's how much I really want you to trust what is holding you in place, to really just let go and let the surface, let the form do the work for you. I'm just going to give you another 20 or 30 seconds to just really try to enjoy this feeling of letting go, of really letting something else support you, not trying to relax necessarily, but just allowing the body to sort of soften. It's almost like a puppet on strings. It just, you start to dangle, and you may actually feel yourself getting heavier or lighter as a result of this. It's just, again, trusting that which is holding you in place, really letting go. You don't have to do anything or be anywhere. We're just letting the body now drift and be supported, just giving it a chance to slow down and relax. And now at this point, if you're starting to notice yourself calming down and letting go, feeling some peace and quiet, the next thing I want you to do is just gently bring your awareness to your breath. And I don't want you to try to do anything with your breath. I just want you to notice the inhale and notice the exhale, and notice there's an organic pace. And we're not going to manipulate the breath. We're just literally going to watch it flow at its own pace. And again, we're just going to notice what it's doing organically, instinctively. And at some point, you'll notice there's a little gap between the inhale and the exhale, and there's a little gap between the exhale and the inhale. So I just want you to notice there's 4 parts to the breath. So you're either sort of with the inhale, or you're between the inhale and the exhale, or you're exhaling, or you're between the exhale and the inhale. It's just a continuous cycle, and there's no beginning and there's no end. Just sort of notice where you are with the breath. And whatever the breath is doing is perfect. Whatever pace it's on is perfect. And if any thoughts come in the mind at this point, it's okay. We're just going to let the thoughts do whatever they want to do. We're just going to be nice and neutral to them. We're just going to redirect our attention back to one of those 4 parts of the breath. And if another thought comes up, no problem. Just let it go wherever it wants to go, just like a bird sort of moving across the horizon. Just let it keep flying until it gets smaller and smaller, and then just bring your awareness again back to the breath. And for the next minute or two, you can just continue this really nice, peaceful cycle. Or if you want to try a little addition to the exercise, you can just simply count the breath instead of watch the breath. So when you feel the next inhale come in, as an example, you can count that as a number 1. You can visualize a number 1. And the next exhale is going to be a number 2. And then when the inhale comes back as a reflex, that's a number 3. And the next exhale is a number 4. And just feel free to either continue to count the numbers to 20 or so, or if you're just really enjoying watching that nice cycle of the 4 parts of the breath. But I'm going to give you a minute or two now to just sort of play with this on your own. Any thoughts come in the mind, no problem at all. Just be neutral and just bring your awareness back to the breath, watching the breath, counting the breath. Any thoughts come up again, no problem. Even my voice, just be neutral and just redirect your attention back to the breath. And so at this point now, you can either continue doing what you're doing if you're just hanging out with the breath and it's bringing you a lot of comfort and peace and quiet. Just feel free to keep doing what you're doing. Or if you just want to let go and not have to do anything and just enjoy some pure relaxation, if that's how you feel free to do that. But for the next 2 minutes, I'm just going to let you be, and I'm going to be completely silent. And just feel free to get on that magic carpet ride, and wherever you want to go is perfect. Again, just really allowing the breath or allowing the relaxation to just guide you and take you anywhere it wants to go. Just knowing thoughts are now moving more and more to the background and just continuing to dissolve on their own. So at this point now, we're going to slowly begin to transition ourselves out of the meditation. And so the way we're going to do that, I want you to bring your attention back to your breath if you're not there. And I just want you to notice when the next inhale comes in, I just want you to slightly exaggerate the breath. So you take in a little bit more oxygen than normal. And when you take in that breath, I just want you to hold that breath at the top for a moment or two. And then we're going to release the exhale as slowly and smoothly and fluidly as possible. And we're just going to continue to do maybe 5 or 6 of these breaths. So again, when you feel the inhale come to you as an instinct, just want you to help it out a little bit. Expand the breath We're going to hold the breath for a moment or two. And again, as you exhale the breath, I want you to exhale the breath as slowly and smoothly as you can. I just want you to notice on the exhale that you're beginning to feel completely refreshed and completely alert, very clear-minded. And whenever the exhale completely exhausts, I just want you to let the inhale come back as a reflex. And we're going to start the process over again. So we're going to help the inhale out a little bit, take in a little bit more oxygen than normal. We're going to hold that breath for a moment or two. And as we exhale the breath very smoothly and fluidly, we're going to remind ourselves that we're beginning to feel completely refreshed and completely alert and very clear and very aware. And then wait for the next inhale to come back as a reflex. And again, we'll help the breath out and we'll expand the breath maybe even a little bit more and really open up the diaphragm and the lungs. Take a nice deep breath. Again, hold the breath for a moment or two. And as you exhale the breath, again, exhale the breath as evenly and smoothly as possible. And again, reminding yourself you're beginning to feel completely refreshed, completely alert, very clear, very focused, very ready. And so we'll take about 2 or 3 more of these breaths. And again, I just want you to sort of start coming out at your own pace. And just remember as you start to transition yourself out and the eyes at some point do open, just remember the meditation is still going. The eyes just happen to be open. So again, inhale comes back as a reflex. Expand the breath, the diaphragm, and the lungs. Hold the breath for a moment or two. And again, as you exhale the breath very slowly and evenly, remind yourself you're beginning to feel even more refreshed, more alert, very clear, very energized, very focused. So I'm going to give you about 1 or 2 more breaths on your own. And again, feel free to come out at your own pace, but just repeat this process. And just keep reminding yourself on your exhale that you're beginning to feel even more refreshed and more alert, very clear, very present, very natural. So maybe 1 or 2 last deep breaths, again, beginning to feel completely refreshed, completely alert, very clear, very focused, very energized. Maybe one last breath now, beginning to feel completely refreshed, completely alert, very clear, very focused, very energized. Well, how are we feeling?